Hello and welcome to this week's Dampsam reacts to some kind of video. And this week I've got a treat for you. Like I said, what I do is I put my keywords in, and I put damp and I'll put plastering. We'll just see what comes up. And this beauty came up. So Trowel Talk. Let's get these lads on. So two plasterers. Let's get them on and see what they have to say about plastering damp walls. Come on, lads.
Okay guys, so we were called out to look at a damp spot on the chimney breast on this chimney.
I've had to stop it straight away. Straight away. So I thought they were going to be doing a damp proof course. Silly me. Like I said, I've not seen this video, so I thought they were going to do a damp proof course. And straight away they're doing a chimney breast, and he's saying it's penetrating damp. So if it's actually on chimney breast, I'd be surprised if it's actually penetrating damp, but it could be. There could be issues with chimney, could be issues with flashing. But what tends to happen is, with this, it's normally sulfate salts. So what happens is, if the chimney breast becomes wet inside, where all that soot is, that moisture will evaporate out as water vapor, as a gas. And as it evaporates out into the property, it leaves the sulfate salts on the surface of the plaster. And then what tends to happen is, when it's humid inside the property, the salts that's in the plaster will absorb moisture from the air. And then they show up as damp patches, they show up as wet patches. And if it's raining, the air inside the property is more humid, and it tends to show up wetter. And this is where we get this common mistake where people that don't know how dampness affects walls, they think that because it's rained and the damp patch has shown up wetter, which is common sense. You'd think that if you didn't know. That's what they think. They think chimney's still leaking because every time it rains it shows up wetter. But what it is there's more humidity inside the house and the humid air, and these salts absorb moisture, and that's what's happening. It would take some doing for water to actually penetrate through the inside of a chimney. So to drop down the chimney, which probably goes up into roof space, she's going to drop down the chimney all the way, and then make a 90 degrees turn and then come through wall. It kind of don't do that. It don't do that. If flashings have gone up top, then the brickwork that's up in roof space, that tends to get wet. So when you go into your roof space, you look at your masonry on your chimney breast, and you'll see white salts and stuff like that on there, which are normally from building products. So that's what tends to happen. So I just thought I'd just explain that. It's saying it's penetrating damp. Now I'm not saying it's not, because like I said, there might be a gutter or something like that. But if it's actually on the chimney breast, it's more than likely it's going to be sulfate salts, and the sulfate salts are what's called, as well as being hygroscopic, there's the deliquescent, so they can dissolve into the atmosphere and move to different walls if they get saturated. So they're a super salt, if you know what I mean. These are two plasterers, and then what I can gather is there's been some other plasterers that the customers had in. So obviously these are better plasterers than these other two plasterers. Obviously because they're on Trowel Talk, so they know what they're on with. So these other plasterers have advised the customer to put a dehumidifier in the room, and I don't know what the thinking behind that is. Well, it could work to a certain extent, because it'd reduce some of the humidity. So I imagine that the salts that are in the plaster are not going to absorb as much humidity, but it's kind of just a temporary fix, and in the long run it'll not work. So this is where they're kind of guessing. So you've got two plasterers from Trowel Talk, and they're kind of guessing. So they're saying that the leadwork was shot around the flashings of the chimney breast. So that's on outside at chimney, and they're also saying that the moisture then or rain is making its way through the chimney. So the way he's just explained it, flashings have gone, which is on outside at chimney. So that means the rainwater's got to get through 2 courses of brickwork, and then wet the inside of the chimney, drop down to the level of the bedroom, and then come through another 2 courses of brickwork. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm just saying that don't look like what's happening. And listen, I've not been to site. I'm not had privilege of going up on that roof, but I'm going from experience of we deal with these every single day. This is probably the most common problem that we deal with is salts on chimney breasts nowadays. Not rising damp, not penetrating. It tends to be salts on chimney breasts. So I've knocked off more plaster and spot with more roofers and stuff like that, and customers, and we've been doing this for like 20 years. So, and I just know that hasn't happened. The water's not gone in through brickwork at flashing, dropped down, and then come back other way. So it's gone like a Z-shaped or an S-shape. It's not. It won't have done that. See what he's got to say. Oh, what's he put here? Although the leak is now fixed, the plaster is now contaminated. Yeah, I think it was contaminated before. And remains damp due to moisture being trapped between layers, and has to be removed and plastered. So they're saying moisture's trapped between layers. So obviously totally wrong. It's salts again. It's salts that's evaporated through. It's not moisture that's trapped between layers. I don't know what kind of thinking they've got. Who's told them that that's how dampness affects masonry and plaster? Totally wrong. So it's salts, like I explained at the beginning. It's salts that have the moisture's evaporated through the wall, and the salts have been deposited on the surface of the plaster, and that they're absorbing moisture from the atmosphere, and they'll sometimes it'll be more humid than others, so they'll show up wetter at different times. It's not coming through the back. It's not trapped. Moisture doesn't get trapped. Moisture will carry on its journey. It doesn't get trapped. It evaporates out one way or other. You've got the materials in a wall. Some materials might stop the moisture on its journey, either inward or outwards, and become a vapor check if it's cold, if it's lower than its dew point. But when the conditions change in the property, So you've got like all different seasons and weathers, and so winter cold, spring might be, you might get a hot day, you might get a cold day. When the conditions change in the room, the water vapour will carry on its journey and evaporate out of the wall. But it's left them salts, and the salts will absorb moisture. So, wrong, Mr. Trowel Talk, wrong. So let's see what else he's got to say. Hiya, it's Dampsam here. I've just come on just to tell you that Dampsam.com is now up and running. We've got the Express damp proofing system course, designed by me, run by me, done by me. You can buy that. We've got the ultimate guide to black mold and condensation. You can pay what you want for it. And we've also got 3 free ebooks. And also we've got a guide to basement conversions, the ultimate guide to damp proofing, and also the podcasting series. You can get in contact with them, and the YouTube membership. Enjoy it, rest of your film.
The leak was rectified and we've been called in to replaster on the inside. I'll show you what we're up to. I'll knock to dot and dab plasterboard.
So if you look, you can see that this is here. Look, so this is the original plaster, and it looks like they've just stuck some boards straight off at top. It's a funny colour that for adhesive. It looked a bit orange. I've not seen an orange adhesive before, but like back in the day they used to stick them on with finish. So I don't think they'll have done that. Surely they might have mixed some finishing with adhesive, but you never know nowadays. But yeah, so water vapour has gone through plasterboard, and these salts has absorbed it. So the dots as well will create a cold spot as well on that wall, but the salts will migrate through that dot, and that's where you could see that pattern staining on the plasterboard adhesive. Yep.
That feed is popped as well, the hairline cracked and all the way down.
It weren't popped before, mate. your lad's just done that with hammer. He's just cracked that with hammer. It weren't popped. Your lad's just done that.
And the reason that's happened is I've left the timber staff feed in and beaded over it. So we'll always take them out. So there's been issues with the chimney stack on the outside of the property. Moisture making its way through the leadwork, which has made its way in past the work on the inside of the bedroom, and then on the adjoining walls each side, and also on this section of the roof. Dodgy joints on the gutter on the outside. It's all about halfway along. It's just sodden. Strip that away. That's using the thistle dry coat, which is an anti-damp plaster, cement based, and we've used renovated control board, boxed in where the chimney stack, show you next door, where the chimney stack was. And we've used renovated control here, and that's less flow into it.
It's important to mention this building is not made up of lime mortars, and therefore doesn't warrant the use of lime plasters when reinstating. I think he's doing that because obviously it's Trowel Talk, and you get all the lime brigade that want to want all the world to be done in lime. Everything. They want desks making in it. They want anything that's in an house. They want it made out of lime. And I'm not against lime in its right place. Like I said before, lime's got its uses, and you can put lime in certain areas. You know what I mean? In historic buildings and things like that. But it is expensive, and everybody's got the right to live in a damp-free house, no matter what the budget is. And lime plastering is expensive, and you can't tell me that it isn't. And the system's been invented that are more in line with people's budgets than lime plastering. Plus, I'm not going to get into into arguments, but you can get decoration spoil on lime plasters. So I've seen it, and it's to do with salts. So when you've got penetrating damp as well, you'll get that coming through. So there's different issues and different scenarios where lime should be put. If you put it on a chimney breast that's contaminated with sulfate salts, they will migrate to the surface and you will get issues on your chimney breast. Now, just looking at what these guys have put on, they've put thistle dry coat on, and they've also stuck, I think he said, because it's quiet, I think he said that they stuck the plasterboard on with a like a polyurethane fixing agent, polyurethane based fixing agent, what they use for sticking plasterboards on. I wish they'd have shown it. I hope they didn't put a gypsum based drywall adhesive on. I'm sure he said they fixed it with thingy. But what you have to do with this system on chimney breasts, you need an isolation system. And you'll see a lot of surveyors and architects, things like that, when they're instructing contractors to replaster after they've had sulfate salt contamination on a chimney breast. A lot of them don't know the modern systems. So what they'll say is you need to put a sand and cement render on and put a waterproofing slurry on top of that, or that is the way I do it. The way the surveyors say that ain't got a clue is they'll say put the slurry on the brickwork, and a lot of plasterers that's what they do. And I'm not gonna start going into arguments over it because I've done videos on it before. But basically, if you put a slurry on there, you're gonna get pinholes and things like that. So even if you put 2 coats on, you're still going to have weak areas, especially for below ground level. And most people don't prep the masonry correctly, so that 2 coats of waterproofing slurry can go on it. What you need to do is make sure that there's no loose debris and stuff like that, and then I'd put a render on first. So I put a render on first and then put your waterproofing slurry on top of that. And then you can either board it using dry grip or something like that, or what he's just said, polyurethane, one of these fixing agents that's made for plasterboards, and then skim it. Or some people, they'd forego that, and then they'd put a plastic membrane on and fix it with plugs and discs, and then plasterboard it. So you've got to kind of make your own mind up to do with thicknesses and things like that. But these are blending in. So I'd have done similar to what they're doing, and I'd have probably fixed it with dry grip. So I'd have put a salt neutralising cream on it and then stuck it on. I don't know whether I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have used thistle, dry coat, whatever they've used. I wouldn't have used that. You can't put that straight onto a chimney breast because the salts will come through it. Even though it says it's a damp-proof plaster, it's a damp-proof plaster. It's not an isolating plaster or waterproof plaster, and you need an isolating system on the chimney breast, or else you're still going to get issues. Hiya, Dampsam here. Did you know, if you want to watch a full unedited version of this, if you become a Damp fan, $2.99, which is as much as an expensive cup of coffee up here, you can watch a full unedited version of this. Nah, let's get back watching this bit, eh? See you in a bit.
We've actually used multi-finish to dab plasterboard on. If you've never used multi-finish, it's probably in.
I thought it looked a bit dodgy, a bit pink.
If you've never used multi-finish to dab on plasterboard, did you know? Yeah, because it draws all the moisture from the chimney stack. So if you've got salt,
It doesn't draw moisture out at chimney stack. It doesn't. This is one of the things that I'm banging on about. Plasterers need to go on courses, and if you're going to be doing damp work, go on a course and find out how moisture affects walls of buildings. So if you put a piece of finish onto a wall, it's not going to draw moisture out. It doesn't suck moisture out. Basically, it's not built for masonry, so it reacts with any salts that's in wall. That's what happens to finish. You'll know that if you've skimmed a wall and finish has gone onto brickwork, you'll get like a damp patch, and it's not because it's sucking moisture out of the wall. It's because it's just not made for going onto masonry.
penetrating damp, it's just going to make the problem worse. That bit of board that we removed, looks like they've just stuck 4 big blobs of skin onto the back of the plaster.
So you see them wet patches that's around the area where the dot of finish was. That's not sort of wet that's come from the wall. That's salts that's migrated into plasterboard, and then they're just absorbing moisture.
The board, and they've not bothered to prep the chimney breast or anything. They've got all loose paper and paint.
One of the things I'll say about these salts, because you'll have seen it if you've ever gone into a property and you've seen a chimney breast with these wet patches on, some of them will look like they'll have a yellow orangey tinge to them, more yellow than orange, and that's how you can tell that it's sulfate salts. They've got like it's like a discoloration, and they can show up with beads of water, as if it looks like they're sweating, and that's because they've absorbed that much more water. It's at saturation point. It's not because water's coming from the masonry and under pressure out. It's because it's absorbed more moisture, and air molecules or capillaries can only hold so much moisture, and then it starts to condense back out, and it looks like it's sweating.
Stuck to the back of the dabs. And with it being, drywall adhesive, that also draws moisture, but
Don't draw moisture out.
using skin even worse, it traps the moisture even worse. So
Don't trap moisture either. Let's have a look what's he put. When boarding onto brick that has been subject to penetrating damp, boards should be bonded using polyurethane adhesive or AC50 adhesive, which does not draw moisture through. He's got it right down to the bottom when it says does not draw moisture through. it don't pull moisture out. I don't know where he's got his thinking there, but it's right with waterproof adhesives. So yeah, so you can use them, but just ignore that bit at bottom, drawing moisture through. Is their thinking on how water affects wall is just somebody's told him. Somebody's told him, and somebody's told him this, and somebody's told him this. It's been passed down, and a lot of plasterers, a lot of people that have not studied damp and preservation, that's what they've got in their head. I go to more sites, and you speak to people, even customers, and they can't get their head round that we say, well, when we've put it on, like if we use the express damp system, which is just a plasterboard and it's stuck on with dry grip, they've got this notion where they think that water's coming through wall under pressure, and they've just got, I don't know, they've just got it in their head, and it doesn't. It doesn't. If it comes through wall, it comes through as an ingress, so it might weep, and that's at its worst. It might weep through wall, and then because there's a gap, air will evaporate it, and it goes into atmosphere.
If you've got an old chimney breast that's a bit damp, or with some penetrated damp issues, and you go and blob multi-finish over it and dab a board straight on top.
Alternatively, use a sand and cement mix with a waterproof. You can use a you see, my brain's going now because I'm thinking, when he says waterproofer, does he mean something like an additive what Seeker use? There's a difference between damp proofing and waterproofing, and when he says a waterproof, you can get additives to make the sand and cement fairly waterproof rather than damp proof, so it will make it a more dense mix. But like I said, to isolate them salts, you need to put a sand and cement on, then a waterproofing slurry, probably 2 coats, and then you plaster or you boarding on top of it. It can go somewhere. It can go somewhere. It's not trapped. It'll evaporate out. It's not trapped. It's not being forced out. It's not. It's not. Hasn't been forced through. It's not. It's evaporated through and left salts on surface. And that mould is because when it's been sat in there, condensation has gone on there, and correct environment's been formed so that mould will form. That's all it is. That's all it is. There were permeable products that they used before. So there were plasterboards on. There were plaster, which allows water vapour to go through. There were the plasterboard, which allows water vapour to go through. Even the multi-finish dots will allow water vapour to go through. So every product that's on that wall is permeable because it allows water vapour to go through. If it's non-permeable, it'd be a waterproofing system, and that's when you isolate it. Or if you've got two types of roofing felts. So you've got modern roofing felts, which are permeable, which allow moisture to go through them, or you've got the older type, which are bitumen, bitumen mineral based, and they're waterproof. They'll not allow water to go through it from inside or come from outside. So that's why roofs have to be vented. It's important to use the right materials, and it's important to have the right knowledge to know how to use the right materials. One comment that I'll have, one observation is he's cut this off at you had a big damp patch, and it looks to me as if he's cut this off more or less in line with where damp patch finishes. The damp patch is finished. I'd have gone probably 300 mil further. Definitely wouldn't have used that on it because it was sulfate salt contamination, so I wouldn't have put that plaster on. It might get away. He'll probably get away with that plasterboard and that foam on, because it kind of has isolated it a bit. But if it ever does get wet in that chimney inside, them salts could migrate through, and in theory could end up on surface at plaster again. But he's made a better job than what were there before, because he had solid plaster which made a bridge to that masonry.
As always, thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.
So there you go, Trowel Talk. Like I said, not seen it before. That's a genuine reaction from me, and again, this is what we said to plasterers: go and get on a course. Go on if you're gonna be doing a bit of preservation work. What you need to do is, there's a 2-day course that the PCA do for a technician. Pay for that course, go on it, invest in yourself, and then you'll have some knowledge to be able to move forward and do kind of little jobs like this and make videos and stuff. But if you get wrong information, that's the only problem. If you get wrong information out on videos, then you're going to come unstuck. I'm not saying that they're not good plasterers, but you've got to be getting right information out, else you get kind of people like me on videos making content and going over them, and I'll probably get slated for this on old plastering forums. But plaster for Doug's back, I don't care. So there you go. But they sound like genuinely nice chaps, and that's why I've not gone too hard on them. I've not done my swearing bits and that, because they're fellow plasterers, aren't they? Fellow plasterers, and I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to be a plasterer, but and we've all got to start somewhere. That's what I said. So these guys might go on and take some courses and end up in preservation industry, where they can earn a lot more money for a lot less work. And that's all I'm trying to do, is trying to get people over into plasterers more than all, into preservation side, and for you to help us, because we have a massive shortage in our industry, and we want more skilled, qualified technicians, because we're struggling. All this money that we're earning is all got to come to us us with businesses and that. So if there were more of us, we'd be able to share that money out. Only joking. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. This is Dampsam. I'm going to sign off, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope I've not been too hard on the Trowel Talk people, Plasterers Help Group. So yeah, I'll see you up next time. Bye bye now.